Welcome everyone to the official second half of the 2015 NFL season. Through 8 weeks, my record so far has been 22, 17, and 1. So let's try to increase on that record in the second half of the season. Last week, I went 3-2 against the spread. Alright, but let's try to improve this week. I didn't like that many games on this week's schedule, but I have 4 picks for you this week. So let's get to it. I like the Bills -3 over the Dolphins. With the Bills coming off their bye and getting their whole offensive line and skill players back, I think they'll be ready to make a move for a playoff spot. I with and the Dolphins are going to have trouble blocking Darius and Williams and their other friends on the line, and they could be licking their chops in this one as they'll be taking on backup right tackle Jason Fox and their third string right guard. So Tannehill might be scrambling more than he would want to. And I think the Bills will be able to pound the Dolphins on the ground and wear out their front seven and secondary with the three-headed monster of McCoy, Williams, and Dixon. And this will open up things for Taylor for play-action passes with the running threat. And the Bills, after this game, play 5 out of 6 on the road, so they want to have this one bad. For my next pick, I like the Broncos -3 over the Colts. The Colts made a game of it late against the Panthers, but I think that was more of a fluke than good play. Luck only had 40 yards passing through a little over 3 quarters. I don't expect him to do much against the Denver pass rush and secondary as it made things difficult for Rodgers last week, who is a much better quarterback at this point. And I look for the running game of Denver to continue to do well, and that will open up things down the field for the tight ends and receivers for Manning. And this is a reunion game for Peyton Manning as he goes back to the house that he built. And in his first time back, he got embarrassed as he lost by 20 points. Well, I think things might be a little different this time around. So I think he'll leave with a victory and break Brett Favre's touchdown record to boot. For my next pick, I like the Steelers -4 over the Raiders. The Steelers receiving core will have a big advantage across the board, as all the receivers will have a 4 or 5 inch height advantage against all the Raiders secondary, which I think the Raiders will have trouble with their speed, and they'll be able to outjump them if any balls are close. And I think Big Ben will have a better game as he has a full week of practice after his knee injury. And I think D'Angelo Williams will do well in Bell's place. Last week he had 80 yards on 9 carries. He could have had more, but Todd Haley forgot to feed him the ball. So come on, Haley. Let's have some balanced offense. And the Raiders have been living dangerously with their second half performances the last 3 weeks, as they've gotten off to big leads, but after halftime have only gotten 3 points in the last 3 second halves. If you give up 300 yards to Geno Smith, what can Big Ben do? So I look for the Raiders party to come to an end for 1 week. Now, what you've all been waiting for. Yes, that's right. It's the upset special of the week.
Woo-ha! Woo-ha!
I like the Rams +3 over the Vikings. Yes, this pins the running back of the past against the running back of the future. Yes, it's Peterson versus Gurley. So I think Gurley will want to prove to the big cat in Minnesota that the torch has been passed to him. And I think Bridgewater will have trouble with the speed of the Rams D-line and secondary. And Minnesota hasn't played a good offensive or defensive line all year. So we'll see how good Teddy scrambles out of the pocket. And the Rams have some sneaky good, quick, and tall receivers. And Nick Foles can look over the defense, and he doesn't have to lose the game, just play steady. And the Rams last 2 years got totally embarrassed against the Vikings in their house, and I think they want to flip the script on the Vikings field. I don't think they'll win by 20 or 30 points like Minnesota did, but they'll do enough to get the upset victory and have a 3-game winning streak for the first time in 9 years. So, for a quick recap of my picks, here they are. Enjoy the second half of the season, and we'll see you next week for Week 10.